Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is iGoRawr and welcome to Let's Auraxium, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Lynx. Now before I begin, I do need to mention one thing, and that is as I am recording this, I have been awake for about 36 hours. And the reason for it being, I have been in and out of the hospital twice in that time. Currently, I'm jacked up on morphine and Percocets and some other pill that I can't read because my vision's so blurry, and on top of all that, they were actually nice enough to give me some weed. Canadian healthcare. Slow as shit, but fuck do they ever pump you full of drugs. So needless to say, if I sound a little off, it's because I'm high as a kite right now. And because I'm not able to walk for about a week, I figured now is a good time to start making videos before I inevitably pass out. So yeah, the Lynx. Let's look at the stats. Also, I can't stop smiling. Send help. Starting off with a fire rate of 909 rounds per minute and a damage model of 125 damage up to 10 meters, dropping off to 100 damage at 50 meters, this is straight up the fastest firing infantry weapon in the game. But because of its lower damage model, it's not the fastest killer out there, with a theoretical time to kill of 0.46 seconds. Next is the reload speed of 2.3 seconds for a short and 3.1 seconds for a long reload, which makes it actually one of the faster reloading TR carbines out there. And finally is its velocity of 450 meters per second. When it comes to attachments, I would recommend anything and everything that makes this gun better at close range. Laser sights and soft point are extremely useful on this gun, and a suppressor can work out relatively well in the right situation. This gun is literally the weaponized equivalent of bukkake, so spraying your load everywhere is what I recommend you do with this gun. So is this weapon any good, you ask? Well, I'll tell you that in a moment, but first, a word from our sponsors. The following message is a paid presentation from iGoRawr, owner of Sluts and Spandex magazine. Hello, my name is iGoRawr, and recently it has come to my attention that a player by the name of iGoMeowNC has been frequently mistaken for me. And this is just a quick message to clear the air so they don't have to deal with the obligatory, "Hey, are you iGoRawr?" message every single time they get on. In fact, next time you see iGoMeow, think of me instead of him, and send me a telling me how great I am. Or just do it completely unprompted, because, let's face facts, as soon as that box of anthrax shows up at Rel's place, I'm top dog. And you might as well get on my good side while there's still room. So in short, I guess what I'm trying to say is, iGoMeow, quit stealing my thunder, bitch. So that brings us to our final question. Is this gun worth your time? And let me start by saying This gun is fun to use. The high fire rate and low damage model of this weapon is something I wish the TR had more of. From the sound effects to the higher rate of fire, just everything about this gun is just fun to use. Which is why, and this is a bit painful for me to say, it makes me sad to tell you that the Lynx, it's not really that good. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still a decent weapon, and you can be very successful with it, especially on the light assault, where the freedom of movement and good situational awareness can offer a lot to a player that knows how to use the class well. Sadly though, this doesn't change the fact that the Lynx falls a bit below expectations in about, well, every aspect. Honestly, I just want to take this gun into my arms, hold it, and tell it everything is gonna be okay. But until my Lynx waifu body pillow shows up, I'm just gonna have to wait. Also, I'm still waiting on my Pulse RC Tank Buster and Rel body pillow, so yeah, it's gonna be a while. Also, I'm gonna leave that image up on the screen for just a moment longer because Rel is probably laughing his ass off at it still. So let me first start off by clearing up a common misconception a lot of people seem to have about the Lynx, and that is its time to kill. Although it appears to be an extremely fast-firing weapon with the likes of the GD7F and the Serpent, this is not actually the case. Yes, its fire rate of 909 bullets per minute is extremely high, but it deals 125 damage, rather than 143. And when you work out the math, well, It basically is the equivalent of a weapon that fires 750 rounds a minute at 143 damage, which is basically the Track 5 and the Jaguar. I would call a weapon like this something that's intended for mid to short ranges, and I could easily explain from this point of what I think is wrong with the Lynx and list it out all for you right now. I could call it a video, go rub one out for the third time today, but quite frankly that feels like a cop-out. And on top of that, my refractory period is pretty long, so we got a good 30 minutes to kill before I can go jack off again. So instead of telling you what I think is wrong with the Lynx, instead, I'm going to tell you what my expectations are for a weapon that fits the role of a mid to short range carbine, and tell you why the Lynx just falls a little bit short in every single one of my expectations. First and foremost is that up close, it should be able to outgun slower firing weapons like the Pulse RC or the Cougar, even in a situation where your target manages to get the first shot off. On top of all that, you should be able to beat the true bullet hoses like the Serpent or the GD7F when you manage to get some good aim or just a small jump on your target. And the Lynx is capable of this for the most part, but because of its unpredictable recoil, occasionally you'll find yourself fucking this up, which leads nicely into my next point. I personally feel that up close to about 15 meters, any short to mid-range weapon should be able to get an all-headshot kill, no problem, on any target that is not using a 0.75 ADS speed weapon or doing the medkit shuffle. Now with the Jaguar, a weapon with a time to kill that is literally a fraction slower than the Lynx, I can do this all day no problem. On top of all that, I can do it with a 0.75 ADS speed multiplier. But with the Lynx, I sometimes struggled with this. Between its high rate of fire, unusually high vertical recoil for something that only deals 125 damage, I find myself usually nailing the first shot, slipping off my target, and then coming back to finish the kill. It's because of this I normally didn't try to go for headshots because I knew there was a good chance I would fuck up the whole engagement. This is why I normally tried sticking to hip firing. That and the Daka docking everywhere was pretty damn fun to do. Next is its performance in the mid-ranges, and this is where a lot of my issues with the Lynx are. I would call the mid-ranges anywhere from about 20 to 40 meters. The recoil of this gun has a lot going against it. When it comes to the vertical recoil, it has some of the highest amounts of it in the game. If you work out the recoil values of this weapon, it sits in about the top 50% in terms of how much recoil per shot it has. Now keep in mind, it is a 125 damage weapon. Not 143 like most weapons are, not 167, not even 200. It is a 125 damage weapon, and it sits in the top 50% overall of how much recoil per shot it has. Per shot. Now take that and add the highest rate of fire out of all infantry weapons in the game, and you already have yourself a weapon that's pretty difficult to control. But vertical recoil is relatively easy to compensate for, and it's really the horizontal recoil of the Lynx that keeps me from being effective with it in the mid-ranges. With recoil that's relatively high and variations on the amount of kick per shot, some randomizations in the angle of recoil, and a reasonably high recoil tolerance, it can be extremely spazzy at times. Because of all this and the weapon's high rate of fire, it is extremely difficult to hit your targets at range. And that's not even mentioning that trying to burst fire a low damage model weapon is extremely ineffective, especially a carbine. Now I am pulling a bit of a John Smedley here and overhyping this one particular issue. And it is a big issue, but it's not the one that totally kills the weapon and stops me from thinking it's very good. But it is a large part of it. Even though it doesn't meet my expectations, it doesn't mean it still can't be good. Huh. Man, if I had a nickel for every time I said that to a woman. Anyways, the final nail in the coffin for the Lynx is its cone of fire bloom. Now most weapons in the game have a cone of fire bloom that's on par with its damage model. For 143 damage weapons, it's 0.05 bloom per shot, for 167 it's 0.05, and for 200 damage model weapons, it's 0.07. But for 125 damage model weapons, it's still 0.05 bloom per shot. And this is really the factor that makes me feel like the weapon needs a bit of a buff. Even if I could get a good grip on the weapon's recoil and controlling it, which, I mean, good luck with that, No amount of skill can compensate for the fact is that when it boils down to it, what you're really getting is less accuracy and less damage compared to other weapons. I mean, in all honesty, you're just getting less efficiency out of your bullets. Between the recoil, the bloom, and other tiny issues that would go under the category of things only a picky son of a bitch like Rawr would complain about, the weapon is asking for a lot of skill from the user and not really offering much up of an advantage for that high level of skill it's asking for. If I spent some serious time with the weapon trying to get good with it, practicing getting headshots and not playing PlanetSide when I'm drunk, I could probably get pretty damn good with this weapon. Or I could just pick up the Jaguar, a weapon that I mastered in about 100 kills without really trying to get good at, and drink all the gin I want. I think I know the answer I'm going with. But all of this information could be a lot for some of you to take in, so here's a simplified example of what the issues are with the Lynx.
So right here, we have an apple. And this apple, this represents the Lynx, alright? And you see this pitchfork right here. This pitchfork represents the weapon's motherfucking recoil! So you see, after the recoil's had its way with it, it's in rough shape, but you know, it's not that bad until our old friend Mr. Cone of Firebloom comes along, and then he really has his way with it. And so yeah, that basically is what the problem with the Lynx is. It's a bad situation, bad recoil, made worse by a worse situation, bad Cone of Firebloom. But you know, it isn't all that bad. I mean, the weapon does have pretty nice reload speed, so, you know, I guess it deserves a little bit of this, so, yeah, there we go. Yeah, and that's the Lynx. I hope that cleared things up for you.
At the end of the day, the Lynx is like playing Fallout 4 with your girlfriend while taking turns going down on each other. It's a fun experience, but it is a little bit sloppy. It seems to me like the Lynx has had a lot of the downsides like a weapon a Serpent or the GD7F would have had, but it's never really been given the firepower to back up those downsides. It's because of this that, quite honestly, I feel like the Lynx needs just a little bit of a buff or a total rework. The amount of recoil for something that does so little damage per shot is extremely high, not to mention it is pretty damn random and hard to control. On top of that, its hipfire could have been given a little bit more accuracy considering what the Jaguar has for its hipfire, and its bloom per shot is just unfair. The Track 5, the Lynx, and the Jaguar all fit the same role, and I gotta be brutally honest, the Jaguar feels like the appropriate choice for about 80% of the situations I find myself facing in combat. Tighter hipfire, recoil stats that most people will find easier to control out of all three, it has a 0.75 ADS speed with very few downsides. All three weapons, by the way, have Auraxium. In short, I wish this gun was better, and if anyone in the dev team is listening to this, please, for the love of Anu, just take a second look at this gun. I really like it, but at the end of the day, I can't get over the fact that the Lynx is just mediocre at best. Anyways guys, that's it for this time. My name's iGoRawr, and I'm gonna go cuddle with my Rel body pillow. I'll see you guys next time.
Ah, fuck, this probably gonna beat me. Mom away! God damn it, Gil! I left that so long ago! What were you thinking? I got out of it a long time ago. It just kept going. I had a chance! He screwed up and I had a chance! Tech. God damn it. It just kept going.